The Israeli-Hamas conflict continues in the Middle East, and the Islamic State is launching attacks in Iran. Meanwhile, the strain of the U.S. southern border and the massive influx of humanity that results is creating distraction from U.S. domestic security. How might the unrest in the Middle East affect us here in the United States? Joining me now with analysis of these stories and many more, foreign policy expert at Newsmax and author of the recent book, Iran, an Imperialist Republic and U.S. Policy. Dr. Walid Phares joins us. Walid, thanks for being here. U.S. Secretary Anthony Blinken is back in the Middle East this week with the intent to ward off an escalating conflict. On Monday, he said that Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates, as well as Turkey, have agreed to begin planning for the reconstruction and governance of Gaza once Israel's war with Hamas ends. What influence does the U.S. have with these nations, and how much influence will it have over the rebuild in Gaza?
Well, first of all, Raymond, the big question, the prelude to this, how does the Secretary imagine that the Gaza war will end? Is it reconstruction with Hamas, which is what Turkey and Qatar would like to see, or is it reconstruction after Hamas, which is what Israel, the Arab allies, and eventually the United States, at least the Congress, would like to see? That's a big question, and I'm asking this because until now, this administration's policy in the Middle East since October and even before October has been captured by that interest in re-signing the Iran deal. And re-signing the Iran deal, you and I discussed it for years, It means more $1 billion going to the Iran regime in Tehran. And what do they do with the money? They obviously support Hamas, support Hezbollah, support all of these militias. So for the Biden administration to even think about a post-Hamas reconstruction, they have to determine a new policy with regard to Iran.
An Israeli airstrike Monday in southern Lebanon killed an elite Hezbollah commander. This is the latest in an escalating exchange of strikes along that border that have raised fears of yet another Mideast war, even as the fighting continues in Gaza. Do you see the potential of these continued strikes in Lebanon leading to an all-out war in the region?
Listen, both sides, Israel and Hezbollah, are fighting each other. Remind me of the World War II situation before Germany invaded France. There was the phony war, Drohldöger, where they exchanged fire, shoots against each other. It was not yet the full-fledged war. What we have right now is that Iran has told Hezbollah, you are going to get some heat on Israel. We need that heat, but don't go too far, because the Iranians still believe that at one point in time there'll be a ceasefire in Gaza and Israel basically would lose. And they do believe that the Houthis in Yemen are going to put so much pressure on the international community that there will be a ceasefire. Only when Tehran decides that Hezbollah will have to go into an open war, then we're going to see major changes in Lebanon, in Syria, and potentially even in Iraq.
Yeah, I want to talk about that, what's happening there in the Red Sea. It's a major story that gets too little coverage. But amid U.S. de-escalation efforts, Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant told the Wall Street Journal that the fight against Hamas must serve to dissuade other Iran-backed proxies in the region from launching their own attacks. It's just what we're talking about. He said, we are fighting an axis, not a single enemy. Iran is building up military power around Israel in order to use it. Walid, what are your thoughts on this move by Israel to escalate the war in light of the threat from Iran? And will they be successful against this Iranian regime?
I remember our discussions over the years, Raymond, how many times we drew the map of Iran mobilizing its militias, its forces coming around Israel, and it decided at one point that the war will start in Gaza, but it does not mean that this war will stay in Gaza. As we just said now, Hezbollah is ready to open a war from the north, Syrian Iran militias from the Golan Heights, and these missiles being fired now from Iraq. So the question is going to be this. Will the United States stand with Israel as it is escalating in Gaza? Escalation is a word, but we need to understand what it means. Either Israel will end Hamas or it won't end Hamas. If it doesn't end Hamas, Hamas too will come back. And this time it will have a lot of international recognition and money. That is not something Israel can afford. So the only option they have is to dismantle Hamas, to get to the Egyptian border on the one hand. More important is to replace Hamas with a legitimate, peaceful, Palestinian new authority that would go in the direction of the Abraham Accords, not of the Iranian Islamic Republic. That's what ultimate objective.
Yeah. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was visiting troops near the Israeli-Lebanon border, and he vowed to do everything possible to return security to the north, adding, "We prefer that this be done without a wider campaign, but that won't stop us." Will Prime Minister Netanyahu be influenced, do you think, by the U.S.? We heard Biden the other day say, "I'm working with him to de-escalate the war." Or will he ignore Western advice and forge ahead with the war in the north?
I think time-wise, options are very limited now. This administration is entering its election years, and we know what's going on over here. So its ability to interfere and pressure the Israelis or any other ally, including the Arabs in Yemen or elsewhere, is going to be limited till about September, October, and then we won't be able to do anything serious before a new administration or the same administration. I think a new administration next year. So that time, basically, the Israelis will take it to achieve as much as they can on the ground and then call this administration, or better, the next administration, to help in securing a convention, a peace convention in the region. As I said, after Hamas and potentially after Hezbollah, we will see. That would secure peace seriously for the future.
During his trip to the Middle East, Blinken met with the Saudi Crown Prince. He met separately with the United Arab Emirates president to discuss what post-war Gaza might look like. Now, according to reports, Blinken said that any plan has to include a unified Palestinian government for the West Bank and Gaza. The region must pave a way for an independent Palestinian state. Walid, you mentioned it a moment ago. How likely is a Palestinian state, and who is going to run the place?
Well, the administration is silent about that matter. I think members of Congress are not. There won't be a Hamas government. There won't be a Hamas backed by Iran participation in any government. It's two different directions.
Right.
So who will be in Gaza, basically? The new Palestinian government, which, as I said earlier, now repeat one more time, will be recognizing the state of Israel, will actually be members of the Abraham Accord. We will have cooperation with them. And that is the government that would rule Gaza and the West Bank, not the other way around, not the government in the West Bank that will rule Gaza. It will be this new Palestinian force on the ground that will. It's like France and Germany after war, they became friends and allies. That's what the United States should be doing with the UAE, Bahrain, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia, looking for new Palestinians.
Yeah. And there's an ongoing standoff between, and you mentioned it a moment ago, Yemen's Houthi rebels and the international coalition led by the U.S. over commercial shipping. We've seen several attacks by these Houthi rebels on ships in the Red Sea. On Monday, Blinken posted this tweet, again a tweet, "This conflict must not expand. We condemn the Houthi attacks in the Red Sea, one of the busiest trade corridors, which has disrupted or diverted nearly 20% of global shipping." And he goes on and on and on. Here's my question, Walid. How significant are these attacks? And is there a danger that the U.S. is going to be pulled into a conflict with these Houthis and by default, Iran? These are their proxies.
Raymond, for years, again, on your show and other shows, we have implored, we have asked the various administrations from the time of the Obama administration to deal with the Houthis, or at least don't do anything. Allow the Saudis and the UAE and the Arab Alliance, which was present on the ground. They were about to push the Houthis to reunify Yemen and to give, rights for all Yemenis. Instead, what did we do? Because of the pressures of the Iran lobby that exists in Washington, as we all know, we pressured the Saudis to stop their campaign against the Houthis. And now we're paying the price. We had a very wrong policy, and now we are harvesting the problems of this policy. So, yeah, the United States, the international community, the alliance, the Arab coalition, all together should be resolving the issue of the Houthis, which means disarming the Houthis, not waiting for them to become reasonable. They're not reasonable because they are funded, controlled, trained by the Iran Islamic Republic.
I got to ask you about a situation in Iran. A young woman named Roya Hesmati, she shared horrific an ordeal she went through of receiving 74 lashes for refusing to cover her hair. Now, despite her punishment, she remained defiant. She refused to wear the hijab during and after her lashing. She sang courageously, quote, "In the name of women, in the name of life, the chains of slavery have been torn apart," end quote. Walid, what are we seeing from the youth of Iran today as they endeavor to fight this regime? And what is the situation on the ground?
what you've seen, what you've mentioned right now, this young Iranian determined woman who, despite all these punishments administered against her, is the new Iran. That's why the regime is panicking, because millions and millions of young Iranians, mostly women and girls and youth, and of course minorities, all joining the Iranian people since last fall, the fall of last year, they have been in a state of revolution. And let me say this, we're not going to find a resolution of the Iranian regime threat except through a revolution on the inside. It's not a war against Iran. It's going to be a revolution within Iran that is going to change the regime. And that's the reason, one of the reasons why Iran ordered Hamas to attack Israel, to divert full attention into Gaza and Hamas. And now you are raising this issue that everybody in the media in America should be raising, and in Europe. Thank you for raising the issue. This is a specimen, an example of what is going on in Iran against the Iranian people.
Final question, and this is an important one we've been covering for a long, long time. The U.S. State Department just released their religious freedom watch list, okay? These are countries they prioritize as places of concern because of the religious intolerance there and, in many cases, slaughter. For the third year in a row, Walid, Nigeria does not appear on that watch list. We just saw 200 Christians murdered during the Christmas season. Some 17,000 churches have been torched since 2009. Why wasn't Nigeria considered a country of particular concern by this administration?
I would quickly say oil, and then I'll have to explain it. But let me say this. With regard to Nigeria, it's in the same policy as in Afghanistan, as in Iran, as we've seen around the world. But most specifically, in Nigeria, there is a systematic jihadi movement trying to ethnic cleanse, and I repeat, ethnic cleanse Nigerians from the plateau and the central of the country, from Biafra now, the southeast. And that is absurd that the international community, including the United States, including Europe, are not raising the issue to the level that we should be addressing. And we have thousands and thousands of multiple ethnicities. Yes, they are Christian because the jihadists are the ones driving this. Some Muslims also have been targeted, but the Christians of Nigeria are under dire threats in the midst of a big, major silence in the international community.
Walid, always great to have you here. We're going to leave it there. Iran, an imperialistic republic, and U.S. policy is available now in bookstores everywhere. Walid Phares, thank you as always for being here.
Thank you, Raymond.